Well, hello, and thank you for choosing to listen to us today. If you don't already know, I'm Emma, and I make items from textile waste because I'm passionate about keeping the world wild and beautiful. Using waste to make things is one way that I can contribute to the health of the planet. Today, I'm chatting with Ruth, who also runs a small business, and it's really inspiring and encouraging to connect with other small business owners. And Ruth and I have some values in common around plastic free living in the things that we make, but also in our lifestyles as well. So let's meet you, Ruth. Thank you so much for agreeing to have a chat with me. Tell us about your small business, why you started, and when you started it.
So hello, thank you very much for having me. I'm Ruth. I run Ruth's Reusable. It's an Etsy shop. I started it in August 2018. My youngest had started nursery, and I wanted to go back into work. I tried an office job, and I really realized that it wasn't for me. I gave up my job when she was born, and I remembered why it wasn't for me anymore. So I thought I'd kind of discovered making zipper bags, how to make little zipper pouches and tote bags. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to start an Etsy shop. Why the heck not? I've seen other people do it. So I started selling zipper pouches and tote bags. Um, Friends, family, people I met on Instagram had bought things from me. And then started making reusable wipes for the children at home. My youngest especially is very grubby. And so I wanted to stop using disposable baby wipes. I mean, they are horrendous things. So I'd made some. And I thought, well, I'm going to start put them in the shop, see what happens. And they started selling very well.
Amazing.
So I decided a complete change into Ruth's Reusables, and that was January 2019. I renamed myself from my previous shop name, and since then it's all been about making and selling things that other people can use and reuse. And yeah, that's where I'm at today.
Yeah, I mean, your name, Ruth's Reusables, is very clear, isn't it? I love it. And the alliteration is just amazing. So we're going to mainly talk about your bowl covers today because they're a brilliant alternative to cling film and also reusable. I know this isn't the first item you ever made, as you just explained, but can you tell us the story behind starting the bowl covers?
So I was looking to try a new product. I do a lot of searching around the internet for reusable products to make. And I had seen somebody making these book covers, and I thought, wow, they look interesting. Because I remember my mum years ago had these horrible plastic things, and they were really crunchy plastic, but she used them to cover bowls, and I remember they were a really good idea. And at the same time, some other friends, a mum friend from school, she'd set up with another friend to have these things called yoga suppers. So basically, a group of us would all meet together, have yoga, do yoga, an hour of yoga, and then we'd all have dinner, really. And
Sounds
it was
so
done by a vegan chef. Now, as a committed carnivore, I was like,
nice.
ooh, vegan food. Oh my word, it was amazing. I've never tasted anything like it. So it became a regular monthly thing. And it was so popular that, well, it's so popular that they've actually branched out and they've set up their own business doing weekly meals for people,
Cool.
which occasionally I buy. And they found a new venue. They wanted to find a new venue to run another one once a month. But this venue had no kitchen like ours. So they couldn't do a hot cooked meal. They couldn't give us the amazingly delicious Swedish vegetable stew, which is my absolute favorite. It's got beetroot in it. It's delicious. So she wanted to do these things called Buddha bowls. So I don't know if you know what that is. It's
No, tell
basically
us.
it's like a giant salad bowl
Okay.
with lots of different things in it, like tabbouleh, and there'll be dips and vegan dips and all that sort of stuff. So a giant salad bowl. But they needed a way to transport it from her kitchen to the venue. Looking nice, because they didn't have a kitchen or anywhere to plate it up. It all had to be done at home. And she said, you know, could you make us some covers for these that are vegan? And I was like, this is the world conspiring to tell me that you need to do this. So I went, wow.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. So in return for food, I made them, I think, 16 bowl covers, and they wanted it so that they could get their logo on the top. So they got their logo printed on the top. And it had to be orange, which I have, orange fabric, because that's their colors. And that was the start of it. I made it for them, and then I thought, well, I'm just going to make up a set of small, you know, different sized ones and list them in the shop, and they proved very popular. So they are one of my most popular products.
Are they? Okay, that's awesome. I
So,
love that story, Ruth.
but that, I kind of feel like that's, in some ways, that's a small business story, isn't it? It's like people get together, they talk about what things they need, one person does it, and it just kind of snowballs from there.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love it. And it's an insight into you doing yoga as well.
Yoga. I do like a bit of yoga. I'm more a Pilates girl, but I definitely, the yoga suppers, they're coming back.
Oh, that's good.
18 months, they're coming back. So
yeah.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
It sounds lovely. Yeah, I love the kind of supportive element as well. Obviously, they were wanting to, I guess they knew about you and they knew that you could make it. So now I've got a really shocking statistic about cling film. These numbers are so big, it can potentially mean nothing to us, but I had to get it in there. So did you know that more than 1.2 billion metres of single-use cling film is used by households across Britain every year? I think Ruth will agree with me that that's not only shocking, a shocking amount of waste that can actually be avoided, but it also represents a lot of money that people are spending on something that they just throw away after using it one time. So Ruth, tell us what you think about that.
I think it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. And when I read that statistic, I was already using bowl covers at that point, but I was just so shocked that it was really that bad.
Yeah.
And
that's just
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not million, it's billion.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was in the supermarket the other day, I did notice that there was like 3 different separate sections for cling film.
Oh my god.
And I was just, you know, so it is quite shocking. And I think that's what gets me, is it's something you buy, you use it once, and you throw it away. To me, that, you know, that's pointless if you have an alternative.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like toothpaste where you use it up and there's a reason to use it up and it goes away. It's a piece of plastic that then finds its way into some poor little turtle, you know. And I think that's what gets me, is this idea of you get something, you use it once, and you just throw it away when there are alternatives.
Do you think that some people aren't aware of the alternatives, or do you think it is a cost thing?
I think it's a combination of that, because a set of 4 bowl covers, it costs you for me £22, because the materials that I buy, they're not cheap, and then I've got to make it up, so it takes my time. But then I was thinking that I haven't bought cling film for 2 years, and I know we'll never go back to buying cling film, and so my £22 has meant 2 years of not buying and throwing away cling film. And in the end, what you outlay, you get in return. And I don't see me getting rid of any of these. You know, the bowl covers are still in really good nick.
Yeah, well made.
Yeah, well, that's what I feel. If you make something well and you use it, and you use it properly, and you look after it carefully, because you can wash them, you can put them in the washing machine.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just don't need to. Sometimes all you need to do is give it a little wipe where there's a bit of little chutney on it or something, you know, a bit of wipe, and then you dry it with a tea towel, and it's good to go. You stick it back in the drawer and you use it again.
Definitely.
So it upsets me when I see people wasting money on something that they're simply going to throw away. But I do feel that people feel that they can in the step to investing in something, you know, and you and I are very, I know you're very passionate about sanitary towels as well.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about that too. And I think it's the same for all reusable products, because you will have to have an outlay. But the end result is that you stop throwing away something that is essentially strangling us and killing wildlife.
And then you stop having to buy it, continuing to buy it, isn't it? It's the continuing you have to buy if you're doing the disposable one.
Exactly.
So the initial investment is worth it for your wallet, isn't it?
I've never regretted any of the reusable products that I have made and purchased from other people. I've never regretted buying, ever. And I've only felt it saved me in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. So is the cost effectiveness element of these items, is that the biggest motivation for you, or is there another reason you make them? What else do you want people to know about your shop and about bowl covers?
I definitely, cost effectiveness is a big part. The reusable element is a big part, because essentially the bowl covers do. I've got some here. They do. There is an element of them, and we'll talk about it later, I guess. You know, that they are made. There's a very thin layer of plastic, and it's food safe. It's been 100% tested food safe. That's why I always I buy it. It's more expensive because they've had to test it to make sure that it won't leave any nasty chemicals, you know, on your food if it touches your food.
Okay.
You can make it without them, but I don't think they're not as sturdy and they're not as strong. And when I was doing them for my yoga girls, they wanted it as a protective layer. So yeah, but I like making things, and I like making things with vibrant fabrics.
Yes.
You'll never see a dull fabric in my shop, you know. And the ones that are really popular, really most popular, are the bees.
Oh, cute.
You know, and I suppose I just feel very passionate that everybody should try them.
Yeah, I love the bee one. Then that's a reminder, isn't it, of the wildlife that you're saving.
The wildlife.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that was another reason that they wanted them, because they were vegan.
Okay.
So because beeswax, they didn't want beeswax wraps.
Ah, okay. Tell us about that then. I know you feel quite passionate about that as well, don't you?
Yeah, so obviously there is an alternative, and there's an alternative, and it's compostable, obviously, because of the fact that it's cotton and it's beeswax. And I know they're very popular. And I tried them and I didn't really get on with them. I did find that for me, the smell, it smelled very much of honey. And I mean, I tried them out. I gave them to my sister. My sister really likes them. So I think it's personal preference. But for me, I didn't really get on with the beeswax wraps. And because my friends were vegan, they didn't want to use the beeswax wraps as well.
Yeah.
So this was the alternative for them. And I have had a couple of people ask me, are they vegan? And I'm like, well, I don't use any beeswax or any animal products in them. And my understanding is that the materials themselves have not had any animal products used in them. So
that's so interesting that people are asking you, are they vegan? Because of beeswax.
Because of beeswax wraps. So for me, it's an alternative
to that.
And I think it's always useful to have an alternative.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, they're so fun to look at as well. It's like way more fun than cling film.
Have pineapples.
Yeah.
In your fridge.
Yeah. Well, for me, the reason for eco swaps is to have a positive and minimal impact on the environment. We know that cling film contributes to the larger plastic pollution crisis, but scientists are finding that it also does a great job of picking up bacteria and metals. So not only is an animal mistaking it for food and ingesting the plastic, but they're contaminated, and so they're getting you know, harmful bacteria and stuff in their stomachs as well. So for me, that paints a really vivid picture of the harm that it does to the animal world. So I mean, like, completely agree with you, Ruth. Knowing that, knowing the cost effectiveness of it, knowing the harm it does, surely everyone will want to find an alternative. So you've already told us what they're kind of made of, but can you tell us a little bit more about that and why that's so much better? I mean, obviously.
So on the top, you've got a layer of cotton fabric. So obviously that's organic. It's not organic cotton, but it is an organic material, so it will break down. The inside it's called ProSoft Food Safe Polyurethane Laminate, which I understand from the company is recyclable. So I need to look into that more. I will admit I need to look into that and how it might manifest itself. But the point is that it's a very, very thin layer of plastic that has a very, very thin layer of polyurethane on it. And when I was reading up about it, it said that how they make the product leach, you know, because there's always an issue with chemicals and leaching, that the way they make it, very, very low chemical impact. So that I was like, okay, so that's good. It's not chucking out tons of horrible chemicals when they bond together, and no fumes as well and things like that. So that's that layer. It's food safe tested, so you're reassured. There's different kind. The fun thing is that I use a different kind of this fabric, which isn't food safe. It's never been tested food safe, for my sanitary towels, and they're both white. So they have to be separated. In my craft room, I have a big label saying, not food safe, food safe, so that I don't get them mixed up. And for me, it's just helpful because I have made some without the PUL. I don't think they're as sturdy. Plus you have to wash them more often.
Okay. Whereas
they get muckier. Rather than just wipe them out with a little, they get muckier. So there's an impact there and having to do more washing. But if anybody wants them made without them, that's not a problem. It's just as easy. And then they're taut, you know, they've got a bit of what fold over elastic.
Okay.
Just to make sure that you know that it can cover and it keeps it tight.
Yeah. So show us the different sizes, and obviously they last much longer than cling film. How long would you say they last? Well,
if you wash them all the time, 300 washes is what they say. I think it's more than that.
Okay.
I've had mine for about 18 months now, and they look exactly the same as they did when I first made them. And I have maybe washed them maybe half a dozen times. Tunas are a big problem. Tuna mayonnaise. Anything with mayonnaise tends to make them a bit mucky. But I would say they've got at least 5, if not 10 years life in them, if you really look after them.
Yeah.
It's what I would say with like with the sanitary towels, if they say they can last you 5 years. Well, I think if you really look after them, care for them, they could last you 10.
Yeah.
And I feel the same about these, is I don't see me throwing any away or disposing of any or breaking them up to their component parts. So anyway, so that's a 5-inch one.
Okay.
So that's quite good for jugs. Make Yorkshire pudding batter that goes on the top.
Yeah, or gravy or something.
Gravy, yeah. That's a 6-inch one and a 7-inch one. So these are quite good for plates and bowls. So they go over the cheese plate. And I've got an 8-inch one as well. But I can do custom. I do a lot of custom orders on. They're very popular as bread proofing. So like if you've got a big bowl that you make dough in, so I've done quite a few, and you know they were like 12 inches in diameter. No, but 16. I did one that was 16 inches in diameter, and I had to make my own template to make sure I got the size right.
Yeah.
Because my normal template wasn't big enough. So yeah, I've made a lot for bread proving bowls.
That's so specific. I love it.
I know. Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah, it's a whole other world, that. Yeah, I think they do last forever, really, essentially. I think I was telling you when we chatted before that we were clearing out my my granddad's house, and I found some bowl covers in the depths of a drawer that I'm now using. So, you know, they must be decades old.
It's like anything. If you look after it properly, it will last you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell people or to encourage them to buy this as an alternative to cling film?
I would definitely just say to give it a try, because it's like me with the beeswax wraps, is I wanted to give it a try, and I found they didn't work for me. And so I passed them on to somebody else who did find them useful and who did like them. And that's what I would always say about reusable products. It's like anything. You read up about it, you have to make your own judgment about it, but you also have to try it. And if you don't try it, you'll never know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you're going to continue buying and throwing away a product which we know is not good for the environment.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if anyone feels like, oh, I'm not sure, like it feels like a bit of a risk, like you just said, you can pass it on if you don't like it. So really, there's no risk at all.
I don't think there is any risk.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any risk.
Because I'm sure, you know, you'll find somebody that does like them, or to, you know, it then becomes a gift if you don't like it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, my parents and my sisters have, you know, they've ended up with a lot of prototypes of these. I'm like, oh, I made this, don't think it was, and they're like, oh no, actually I find a use for it. So I kind of feel, sometimes I feel that if it's from a small business, because you've invested in that, essentially in that person, they will want to use that product. And find ways to use it. And I just think you've got, in some ways, with this whole, because it is a bit of a minefield. It's like you don't know, is it the right thing to do? But I don't see any alternatives other than what's currently out there in the shops that you're spending money on throwing away. So that's how I would say is give it a try.
And where can people find you, Ruth? I know you're putting on a sale, aren't you?
I am going to put on a little sale because I am enthusiastic about these. I also have quite a bit of stock, and I have some future plans to make up kits so that people can make their own bowl covers.
Love that.
This is my latest thing, so that you can try it out. And I think that's what I've found, when you make something for yourself to use, you invest more of yourself in it, you're more likely to use it. That's my plan.
Yes, I agree. I probably will be buying a kit from you, Ruth.
So somebody's mentioned about kits. Sanitary towel kits are coming out before then. So that's so that's what I wanted to do. Put a bit of a discount on for a week or so while this video's up.
Yeah.
And encourage people to use them.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today, Ruth. It's been really lovely to chat with you.
Oh, no, thank you.
For me, it's the shock factor that motivates me, you know, like the shocking statistics. But for someone else, it might be that they want to save money. For someone else, it might be that they want to make their fridge colourful, which they definitely will be with yours. Because plastic's quite ugly, isn't it? But I think it's important to remember as well that we can't do everything in the area of being plastic free, but I think switching from cling film to your bowl covers is such an easy way to reduce waste and to feel good about doing something positive, you know, something positive for the planet. So we'd love to know what you're currently doing. Leave your comments with the eco swaps that you're doing already below. And if you've got any questions for me or Ruth, then we will do our best to answer that. So I'll link your shop, Ruth, in the description, and you've got a website as well, haven't you, with some great blogs on it. So you can check her out there. Thank you for taking your time to listen, and I hope it's inspired you to make one more step to being plastic free and low waste. So bye for now.